Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Oh, hello, 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 everybody. I don't have any chat yet, so I can see people coming in, but I can't see any chat. Oh, hello, Sean. How are you, my dear? Let's see if I can pop out the chat. And oh, look at that, how it automatically moved it over there. Okay, that's good. In that case, then, can I go down with that? Yes, I can. Okay, we'll put that there. There we go. Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Look at that, like a pro. Put the chat right out in front of my eyes so I can see it. Hello, Louise. How are you? And hello, Cassandra. And you're not too bad. You messaged me before. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I missed that. Hi, Susan. How are you? Oh, it's just so delightful to be here, everybody. And I almost missed it. I was actually editing a permanent version of this Happy Mail presentation, and I was hoping to have it done, but since it didn't get done, you get a impromptu version, and then there'll be a formal with. I'm doing it a little differently. Um, because it's a book that has a story. And so I'm also doing plot cards along the way so that I mean, even if you're not familiar with the story, you'll be able to love the book. Hello, Michelle. And, thank you. And hello, Joe Beth and Corolla. And hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. It is raining here in the great state of Virginia, or the great Virginia Commonwealth, I guess it is. What's it doing where you are? Is it being nasty and cold? I actually had to turn on the heat yesterday for the first time since what, May, I think, or maybe April, something like that. I remember summer being a little slow coming in. Uh, Cold. It's cold there. Okay. Well, I'll mark down that for not a place to be. It's cold here, so it would be no improvement. I shouldn't say it's cold. It's in the 40s at night, and it's only going to be in the 60s all week. So, and high in the 50s and sunny in Wisconsin. And so, yeah, but it's only 7. Wow. Okay, so yeah, it's that setting sun in the south. It's just not good. Only one rain shower this weekend. Okay. And anyway, I'm hoping that she'll pop in here in a second. Um, Before I actually show this, I will show this. I'm working on a Christmas drawing, or at least what's going to be a Christmas drawing. Now, keep in mind that this is just like, the start of it. And so, I'm just working in some rough shapes and putting my little, fancy dancy ruler there to work. And so hopefully that will turn into something Christmas looking eventually. And okay. Well, I think that what I will do is fix my camera lighting. I can see it's out again. It's all yellow. Hang on a second. See, you turn the camera for 1 second, and it gets all wigged out on you. Silly thing. Turn off that autofocus. Now that it is focused, okay, that's a little better color. Wow. That light just goes so orange, so fast if you don't have your white balance out. It either goes orange or pink, and I'm not exactly sure why. As you can see, I have opened this, but I'm going to go ahead and start on this. I got a ding on my phone from my friend Shara yesterday that said, "Hey, Christine, go look on your front porch." Apparently, it makes me look tan. Well, that's good. That's about the only thing. I am pale as a ghost here. There she is. There she is. Hello, beautiful Shara. You are amazing. Okay. So, Shara, this is the package that arrived. Now, I've even, sort of tried to put it back a little bit like it was, but look at how cool this packaging is. And that's the way it came through the post. So, that is absolutely fabulous. So I opened this up, and I'll save you all that crinkling paper noise. And the book came wrapped gorgeous paper that's like, that really expensive paper. My sister buys this kind of paper, so I know it's expensive. And this gorgeous pink ribbon decorated with this bow, very much in the same style as the outer wrapping. And then it was inside of this wrapping, which is just a very cool, like, envelope type doohickey, like an album cover. And this is what was inside. Now, apparently, I said in a live stream out loud a couple weeks ago or a week ago that I really liked this book, but I thought it was too expensive for me to put on my wish list because I didn't want one of you sending it to me at that price. And it's not, it's not that expensive, but it's normally I like to keep the cost of the books around $10 on my wish list. And this one is more than that. And so Shara is amazing. She actually found it at a shop on Etsy. And the shop is, I have to get it out because otherwise I will butcher the name. The shop is, and I don't have a link. Sorry, guys. Normally I would do. It's called Pink Pussycat Vintage. So, and cat, of course, now I've turned off the autofocus, right? Oh, look. It's a Christine tool. I love that Sammy called it that, a Christine tool. Hello, Melody. And oh, hello, everybody. And hi, Melinda and Elizabeth, and just looking down the list here, and Nanamo, and all of you wonderful people. So this place is called Pink Pussycat Vintage. And let's see, I want to go back up a little bit because I definitely want to be able to get in both sides of the pages. So as you can see, this is Wuthering Heights. It is artwork based upon the novel of Emily Bronte. And this is not brand new. I mean, the book itself is brand new, but it's not a new release. It's been out for a long time. Hello, Natalia, and welcome. And it is a coloring classic book. Now, some people have not liked the coloring classics, but I can tell you that it is notoriously difficult to adapt a colorable drawing from verbiage on the page in a classic novel. And so my hat is off to anybody who tries to do it. This book has been universally accepted as an exception to a lot of folks not necessarily liking the classic coloring books or the coloring classic books. And there's a reason why. It's absolutely marvelous. So it, of course, is the story of Heathcliff and Kathy. And if you are super familiar with the story, it really helps. And I found that because I filmed a part of this, I filmed the whole flip through and everything. Then I went and read the plot of the book and realized that I didn't know what the heck I was talking about. For the artist Etsy page, this artist? Oh, sure. Hang on. There you go. You're a mod. Anyway, this is by Elizabeth. I want to call her Stonick. It's Stoinic, I believe. Stoinich. She lives in Milan with her husband and 2 children. It might be Stoinic. And raised but she was born and raised in a small Italian seaside village. Wouldn't we all love to be? Oh, my goodness. Okay. The artist also has an Etsy store, and she's awesome. Okay, good. And is that this artist? Okay. All right. So where was I? Before I interrupted myself. It helps if you are familiar with the story. And I went and read a synopsis of the plot on Wikipedia. And that's what I'm basing my plot cards on for the formal walkthrough. But this is the book. Now, this is, of course, a flip out page, and it has a pretty design on the inside here. And this is all colorable, as is the back colorable. And it is a haunting story, and it's got everything, everybody. It's got love and revenge and destruction, and it's just epic, just absolutely epic. And of course, it is a classic. It is Anne. There were 3 sisters: Anne, Charlotte, and Emily, and they lived in the 1800s, I believe. Emily was 1818 to 1848, and Emily wrote Wuthering Heights. Her sister Charlotte wrote Jane Eyre, and Anne wrote Agnes. Oh, somebody help me out here. Agnes something, but all of them. I think that Anne was the only one who ever had more than 1 book published. But if you're going to have books published and it's only going to be 1, I would say that being the author of Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre are probably pretty good, probably pretty good ones to have under your belt. At any rate, since they are both classics. Hi, Lee. It's good to see you. And hi, let's see. Hi, Natalia. Did I say hi to you? Bye, guys. Oh, bye, Natalia. Okay. Yeah, they're 2 of mine too, Nanamo. Jane Eyre. I could watch the any of the BBC productions of Jane Eyre all my life or every day. But my favorite is the one with Ruth Ward, and probably because it's one of the more modern one. But I really like it. There's a lot of people that said that Ruth Ward was too pretty to play Jane Eyre, but I didn't think so. Okay, so we open up this first book. Hang on, I have obviously got my thing. I move my window so that I'm sure that I am. There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay. Move the light over a little bit. So this first set of drawings, this is a guy named Lockwood, and he has rented a place called Thrushcross Grange. And this actually is Wuthering Heights. And he's come here to visit Mr. Heathcliff, who owns Wuthering Heights and also owns Thrushcross Grange. So that's why this guy is coming along. And that's who he is. This is how the novel starts. And this is the door to the house. It's the ancient seat of a family called Earnshaw. They did not have a lot of money, but they were very proud people. And they had a very ornate front door. And it was one of the marks of the house. And what was my fave? Oh, my fave was the Jane Eyre. It was the one with Ruth Ward. Yeah, Ruth Ward, Ward. And I actually love that BBC also just did a story of Ruth Ward's. I think it's Ward, isn't it? Didn't they do a story about her mother's real life? And so you're hearing about this from Lockwood's point of view. Now, he's arrived late. He can't, it's too dark for him to get to Thrushcross Grange tonight. So he's going to stay overnight at Wuthering Heights. And here we have Mr. Heathcliff, who is, this takes place in the present day. Let's just say that this is the present day. And Heathcliff lives there all by himself. He's got one servant, one maid, one manservant, and a boy, and his dogs. And they never have company, and he is a bit out of practice when it comes to the social graces. And so that is what this picture is all about. I just love, look at all the different dogs and what they're doing. I mean, they're sleeping, and one is, got his little paw up over his eyes, and this one's sort of sitting on the chair. There's a fire burning. There's so much stuff to color in this. It's just amazing. And even cute little puppies. Now, come on, who doesn't love puppies? So he is given, Lockwood is given Catherine Heathcliff's or Catherine Earnshaw's old room. Now, the Earnshaw family seat back in the day had mom and dad Earnshaw and their kids. They had two actually. They had a child named Hindley, and they had a daughter named Catherine. And Heathcliff was a gypsy boy that Earnshaw found in his travels and brought home to live at Wuthering Heights. Catherine was the daughter, and this Lockwood is in her room, and as he's there, he goes in, and Kathy's diaries are open on the table, and he begins to read what's in the diaries. And a glare of white letters started from the dark, as vivid as specters, and swarmed with Catherine's. So, now he's under the spell. There's Catherine Linton, Catherine Heathcliff, Catherine Earnshaw, all of these Catherines. And as he's asleep that night, he's read the book and the candle has blown out. There's a specter at the window, and she's a very real person. She's ice cold. She's begging to come in. When he asks her who she is, she says her name is Catherine Linton and that she has been a waif on the moors for 20 years. Now, in the novel, Lockwood shouts out, and that alerts Heathcliff, and he comes running, and he's so delighted that Lockwood has seen Cathy's ghost, and that he kicks Lockwood out of the room and gives him his own room, and Heathcliff stays in the room all night, hoping that Cathy's ghost will come back. But she doesn't. So the next day, Lockwood goes home to Thrushcross Grange, and he falls ill. So Heathcliff, being the landlord, sends Nellie, who is the maid, to care for Lockwood until he's better, and she tells him the story of Cathy and Heathcliff, the older Cathy, and how Earnshaw adopted Heathcliff as a boy, and how the older son Hindley hated Heathcliff because he thought that he was a rival for his father's affections, but Cathy loved him, and they were fast friends, and they used to play together and do all of that kind of stuff. And just look at the gorgeous art interpretation of that, with the water flowing in the creek bed, and the hill, and the clouds in the sky, and you could do sunshine, and there's beautiful creatures, there's butterflies everywhere, just tons of beautiful rocks that you can color, fish. All of that is in here. Hi, Gary. It's so lovely to see you. And down the road a piece is a place called Thrushcross Grange. Now, that's the family home of the Lintons. Now, keeping in mind all of this now is 30 years before. The Lintons have two children named Edgar and Isabella. And Edgar, they're very wealthy, whereas the Earnshaws are very moderate. And for a while, Cathy and Heathcliff sort of make fun of the rich people for their wealth and for their, for their stuff. And they look in the windows and they're petting their beautiful silver pieces and polishing and doing all of that kind of stuff. There's servants everywhere, so they're laughing at it. But really, Cathy covets it. She wants to be rich. She doesn't like being poor. So while they are spying, they get caught, and the Linton's dog comes and bites Cathy, and so the Lintons take her into their home to nurse her back to health, and they basically kick Heathcliff back home to Wuthering Heights. And when Cathy gets back, she is a completely changed person. And now a couple of things happen in the interim. She's there for months, by the way. One is that Earnshaw dies. And so now his son Hindley, who hated Heathcliff anyway, is the master of the house. And so he's treating Heathcliff as a servant. Cathy, of course, is enamored of all of these beautiful hats and fans and gloves and all of the things that she never used to look at before. She's interested in. And so look at all the fun stuff to color. Look at that beautiful dress. And the winter muff. You could do that in fur. At any rate, Kathy gets very upset when ever Heathcliff isn't around. If he's not around, she can't really live without him. And eventually Edgar will ask Kathy to marry him, and Kathy will confess to her nurse that she really loves Heathcliff, and but that because of Heathcliff's status, she can't marry him because it would be degrading. Well, of course, Heathcliff overhears this conversation, but he only overhears the part about the degrading part. He doesn't overhear the part that Kathy loves him. So he runs away. And he just vanishes off the face of the planet. And Kathy grieves him to the point of making herself ill almost to death. And so that's what this depicts. This depicts her in the, that she is so ill as to die, but she realizes that heaven is not where she belongs. And when she tries to leave, it makes the angels angry. And so they cast her out and back onto the moors. And she cries tears of gratitude that she is still alive. And this is where she's confessing to Nellie that Heathcliff is her soul. And Linton is a guy that she could love, but she'll never love him the way that she loves Heathcliff. And then, of course, she's still grieving Heathcliff, and so she cries and has fits and, just regular temper tantrums. But eventually she gets over it and she marries Linton, or she marries Edgar Linton, and decides to make a life because, after all, Heathcliff is gone and it doesn't do you any good to love a guy who's not around. All of us can tell you that. And yes, this is Wuthering Heights Coloring Book. Exactly. Hi, Jill. Nice to see you. It is such a wonderful story. And so they go to Gimmerton Chapel and they get married. And it was not the thorn bending to the honeysuckles, but the honeysuckle embracing the thorn is really what Nellie says about this marriage. Okay, so now you cut to 3.5 years later. Kathy is off at Thrushcross Grange with Edgar. In the door walks Heathcliff, returned from wherever the heck it is that he's been. Well, where he's been is off making his fortune, so that now he is a man, a gentleman of wealth and means. And because he thinks that's what Kathy wants, right? So you have to find out she married Edgar Linton anyway. And he is PO'd. Very handsome. Okay, so in order to make Kathy, or to gain some revenge on Catherine, Heathcliff takes up courting Edgar Linton's little sister, Isabella. Now, Isabella is a sweet young girl and could easily be crushed like a sparrow's egg by Heathcliff. And I love the depiction here of the snake and the eggs and the sparrow's eggs, because that's exactly what Catherine says to Nellie about her, about she's jealous, but she's also worried that her friend or her sister-in-law Isabella is going to get hurt. And I love the artwork. I love the eggs in the basket, and the berries, the snake. It's gorgeous, and all of the the butterflies and the leaves and all of that kind of lilies, all kinds of wonderful things to color in there. Okay, so Edgar obviously is not real happy to see Heathcliff come back, and so he basically after he witnesses an argument between Heathcliff and Catherine about Isabella and how he should be leaving Isabella alone, Edgar puts his foot down and says, Heathcliff, you can no longer come and visit my wife. I don't care if she's your friend. You have to stay away, and I will set the dogs on you if you come. Well, that upsets Catherine no end, and so once again she retreats to her room where she makes herself ill. And she is once again so sick, and she's like, they put feathers in the pillows. No wonder I couldn't die. Pigeon feathers. Apparently, pigeon feathers keep you from dying. Okay. Now, Catherine is also pregnant with a child by Edgar. Not knowing that she's sick, runs off and he looks with Isabella as a way to gain revenge on Edgar and Catherine. But Isabella is miserable, and so they return to Wuthering Heights after just 2 months. And when they return, Heathcliff then discovers that Kathy is dying. She's not just ill, she's actually dying. And so, in addition, of course, to her wanting to die here, is telling Nellie how the room is haunted and she is haunted by loneliness. And I think that these two pictures are just so very telling of that particular, loneliness, because she cannot live. She actually couldn't live without Heathcliff. That was the whole point of the story. They could not live without each other. And she dies. Well, she does die eventually, but she doesn't die yet. Okay. So, having been forbidden to see her, Nellie eventually takes pity and sneaks Heathcliff in to see Kathy, which he does. And on a night in their minds, they make a death pact. And Kathy declares that she won't rest in the cemetery until he's with her. And look at the beautiful cemetery. I mean, England does cemeteries right. I love these little churchyard cemeteries. And in their minds, they decide they're going to go ahead and run off. And so I love this scene with the big full moon and the two lovers riding away, to eventually be together. But of course, it's just way too late. And they declare their undying love for each other, finally. I mean, in the book, it's just going, finally. And of course, Heathcliff realizes what a fool he was to believe that Kathy could ever love Edgar more than him. And then finally, because misery and degradation and death are nothing that God or Satan could, or not, or nothing, or and nothing that God or Satan could inflict, would have parted us. You of your own will did it. I have not broken your heart. You have broken it. And in breaking it, you have broken mine. Oh, so much the worse for me that I am strong. Do I want to live? What kind of living will it be when you, oh God, would it would you like to live with your soul in the grave? And that is Heathcliff's declaration when she's dying. And the next night, she gives birth to a 7-month child, which is her child with Edgar, and then she promptly dies. So this is her beautiful shroud, and of course the dress that she will be buried in. And she gives birth to a little girl named Kathy. Edgar names her Kathy after her mother. And Heathcliff begs Catherine, to haunt him as long as to please not ever leave him alone. The poor guy is distraught. I mean, look at his face. I love the moth. Oh, jeez. One of these days I'm going to get to moving it in the right direction. I love this moth. And so in the coffin, of course, I guess it was tradition to put a lock of your hair in the departed loved one's locket, as it was to take a lock of their hair and put it in yours. And so Heathcliff, sometime during the night, opens the locket and dumps Edgar's hair out and replaces it with his own. But Nellie, finding the hair the next morning, also tucks Edgar's hair in with it because Edgar loved her too. And I love all of the jewelry, the beautiful jewelry with, as a matter of fact, that I think is what hair jewelry was originally all about. You know, they used to make jewelry out of hair. And I think it had to do with, with the deceased. You would take their hair and make a piece of jewelry that you could then wear forever. Now we would think of it as kind of gross. But I've seen a lot of really beautiful hair jewelry in antique cases and stuff like that. So obviously lilies and lockets. Now, Heathcliff go and have his revenge on everybody else who ever degraded him or did him wrong. So the first thing he does is go back at Wuthering Heights. Hindley Earnshaw, who now owns it, has basically mortgaged it to the hilt to pay off gambling debts. And Heathcliff, now that he's rich, has bought up all those debts, and so he forecloses, which reduces his enemy Hindley and Hindley's son Hareton to servants. And so that's what all this symbology is about. The gambling and the drink and the gambling and all of that has cost the Earnshaws their home. And now Heathcliff owns it. But back at Thrushcross Grange, Nellie is in heaven because she is getting to raise Catherine's daughter, as she was there to watch Catherine grow up. And Kathy is a delightful child, the light of her father's eye. And Nellie says that there's 12 years of peace at Thrushcross Grange, which is just absolutely lovely. I love the different flowers, the bells, the crocuses, the bee, all the ferns. It's a great page to color. But now what happened to Isabella, right? Isabella was Heathcliff's wife, Edgar's sister. After being miserable, being married to Heathcliff, of course, because he didn't love her, and she knew it, Isabella has gone off, but we don't really know her fate until this point. Well, what we do find out here is that she had a son, Heathcliff's son, and his name is Linton. Well, Isabella and on the next page it shows this, Isabella has fallen ill and eventually dies. But Edgar, who has up to this point kept an eye on his young daughter, Kathy, and never let her go anywhere near Wuthering Heights, is away. And he's gone to be with his sister and to fetch Linton back, because his intention is to adopt and educate the boy, since Heathcliff doesn't really know anything about it. But Isabella is still Heathcliff's wife. So Kathy gets on a horse, and while her father is away, of course, what we all do? We all go and do what is forbidden, right? I don't know about any of you, but I did. So she goes immediately over to Wuthering Heights, and there she finds her other cousin, Hareton. Hareton is her mother Kathy's nephew. So he is her cousin, as is Linton. So here she's been an only child all her life, and she's just thrilled to finally have a couple of kids close to her own age, to get to know. And so once again, we have a much more detailed version of this particular picture. We saw this first one with Lockwood riding up to it, and this is it in a different season with the berries out front, and the dogs playing in the yard, and all of this other kind of good stuff going on. And Kathy riding up, sort of unaware that she is doomed. She is doomed by going to this house. She is signing her own. She's headed toward doom, but she heads there anyway. So this is, of course, the mourning for Isabella. Isabella is dead. Now, while she is there, she lets slip where it is that Edgar has gone. So Heathcliff now finds out about his son. And he now insists that Linton come and live at Wuthering Heights, because he is his son. And of course, he writes to the Grange and says that. And Kathy is just devastated, because now she won't have any cousins there. But both of her cousins live at hang on, I just realized that is really out of focus. I hope I haven't been making you watch it out of focus this whole time. I think that's a little better. All of her cousins now live in a place that she's forbidden to go. So she's very upset, and that's what these two are about. I love this old desk. This old writing desk is just gorgeous. And I love this floor. The woodwork that you could do with that, coloring it. All right, so now Heathcliff has a plan. His plan is that he's going to marry his son Linton to Cathy's daughter, Cathy, and thereby, since she will be the sole heiress of Thrushcross Grange, he will eventually get it into his own family. The problem is that these two are about as different as night and day. They're good friends, but they don't love one another. Cathy and Linton. And Linton is sweet when he's away from his father. He's not a good person under his father's influence. And Cathy, of course, is just sweet. So here they are discussing life on a glorious day and their different philosophies and how incompatible they are as mates. So we've got poppies, trees, beautiful things. He's dreamy and he's always been sort of a sickly child. She was always sort of sickly as well, but they both do as well as they can do. Am I boring you guys to tears yet? Okay. However, Heathcliff is not to be deterred, not at all. So one day, while Nellie and Cathy are out walking on the moors, he tricks them into coming to Wuthering Heights. And there he locks them away, locks them up for 5 days and forces Linton and Cathy to get married. Then he lets Nellie go, and Cathy vows to find a way to escape. A story before sleeping, yes. And eventually, Linton does manage to Cathy escape, but Cathy will never be the same. She has been forever changed by being kidnapped and forced to marry against her will, and that is very sad. In fact, we find out that it was that Cathy, that young Cathy, who Lockwood originally saw way back here. This haunted figure at the window who claims to be Catherine Linton, a waif of 20 years who's lost on the moors, because she withdraws from the world and goes completely mad. And so that's pretty sad. This is a very dark Gothic novel, by the way. I should tell you, it does not have a happy ending. Nobody gets away with being happy in this. Except maybe Lockwood when he gets the hell out of there. In the meantime, of course, Heathcliff is descending steadily into madness because now he's wreaked his last revenge. Since he successfully married his son to Cathy, and Edgar Linton does eventually die. It turns out that he now owns Thrushcross Grange, and so his revenge against all of these people is now complete. So he is now free to just go mad, which is basically what he does. He just basically allows Cathy's ghost to haunt him to his own death. And that's what all of this is about. All of this symbology, the death symbology, time running out, the pick and the shovel and the time and all of that is Heathcliff getting ready to die. And one night he has a dream of death, and he is so happy because he is finally with his beloved Catherine. And that's why they both look so peaceful. And in the meantime, young Kathy, uh, who is sort of in and out of reality, Harriton has tried to be nice to her. Her other cousin has tried to be nice to her, and and she kind of comes and goes. She becomes a very ethereal waif, and so sometimes she's lost on the moors, and other times, she's all about picking flowers. So yeah, he grieves her for 20 years exactly. Exactly. And the entire world is a dreadful collection of memoranda that she did exist and that I have lost her. Oh, on the one hand, it is just so tragically sad. And on the other hand, it really just goes to show, A, don't jump to conclusions, and B, revenge is not really all that sweet. Revenge is bitter, and if you feel that resentment, what you're really doing is just taking poison. You're just poisoning yourself. But theirs was a love of destiny, I guess. So Heathcliff descends completely into madness and becomes, basically a death's mask, and fights his demons. And eventually just dies with the rictus of a grin on his face because he finally sees Kathy. And that's what those last 2 pages are about. And the country folks, if you ask them, would swear on a Bible that he walks. And there he and Kathy are on the very edge of the cliff, walking along the moors, finally together. The symbolism of vanity's objects is basically what that says. Vanitas is, I want to say that's Latin for vanities. So, it talks about all the symbology of the skull, which is a reminder of the certainty of death, bubbles, which are the brevity of life and the suddenness of death, the butterfly, which is the fragility of life, the hourglass, which is time is running out, the candle just extinguished is the passing of life, the dice and the playing cards, earthly pleasures and a sinful life. Joe Beth, this ought to be right up your alley. Are you here? Rotting flowers are the decay of earthly things. Jewelry is the temporary earthly riches. Tipped over glassware is the transience of life. The shell is a symbol of wealth and indulgence. And the books are the temporary nature of human knowledge. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. The book of Ecclesiastes, book 1, chapter 2. Or chapter 1, verse 2. Is that right? I love all of these symbols. Yep. They let the Moors. And then this one is just so amazing. Also a colorable page, guys. Heathcliff, Catherine Linton. All three buried up there on the hill with the raven keeping watch. And the last page, even the inside is colorable. Ooh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Shara. Thank you, Louise. I it's fresh in my mind since I literally was editing on the formal version of it. You know, I mean, there'll be two versions of it because not everybody likes to watch lives. So I figured I'd do a much shorter one with just the story cards without all of the commenting on it by me. So anyway, this is just gorgeous. And Shara, you hit it out of the ballpark, my friend. Thank you very, very much. I just love that, you know, the change of seasons too, that that the artist did for, you know, here's the vines all, uh, you know, the berry vines all bare, and here they are all built up. Excuse me. Now, of course, I can't breathe. Okay. After that, guys, I need a quick intermission for a little bit of water or something. So let me put something non-glaring. Out there. And I'll be right back in 1 second. Well, maybe 30 seconds. Okay. Oh, thank you so much for your patience, everybody. Oh, that's so much better. I don't actually my hot coffee thing here today. So, okay. So now we'll put that beautiful sign that your sister Shannon made me. That actually came from Shara's sister Shannon, that beautiful sign. And I would love to color in this, but I don't want to do that until I have had a chance to finish up the. Oh no, I wasn't crying. I wasn't crying. No, I wasn't crying. I just I went to get some coffee, Melody. You know, if you'll notice, I actually talked for an hour or almost an hour. Hi, Sandy at Color Creatively. Nice to see you today. But I talked for about an hour and I didn't cough. So I needed to get a little coffee to at least wet my throat. And anyway, let's I was going to pull, actually, you know what I was going to do is I was going to go ahead and pull that, the same one we've been coloring on for the last couple of Sundays because I never seem to make any progress on it. Unless I'm here coloring it with you guys. I just keep getting sidetracked into other projects, and this is one that I am working on with Prismacolor pencils, and I have them all out right here where I can find them. And if that's okay, I can certainly pull out a different drawing if you'd like. I just want to check my white balance. Okay, check my autofocus. Okay, if I come in a little bit, that seems to be as far as it wants to let me come in. Okay, you're going to buy this drawing. I love the bee. And oh, thank you, Sandy. It's in the new art section of the store, of the Etsy shop. And everybody, there is an Etsy shop link in the description below. Although I don't believe that there's one specifically for this drawing in this video today. There is one in my last Sunday video. And oh, if you're going to do that, hang on just one second and I will let me grab a document and go to the 2019 show notes and go to my copy, control copy. Yeah, copy. It always looks different when I'm on YouTube than on my normal file, and I forget how to do things. There it is. Enter. That is a link to my Etsy shop, which will, if you use that link to go in, it will automatically take 25% off whatever you buy. So yay. And that includes the new stuff. It includes books. It includes all of that stuff. So there was something else that I was going to show you. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. Is that it? Yeah. Okay. And it was this. I have been working on this a little bit at a time. Remember, this is one of the dragon drawings, which are also in the Etsy shop only. These are not in any books. And I'm clicking now. Hubby has dinner ready. Be right back. Okay. You are welcome, Jo Beth. And I've been making video on this in a little bitty snippets, but I was testing out a bunch of different methods and stuff like that. The first thing I wanted to say is that this gorgeous silver color is that Sugilite that Morticia had sent. It's absolutely amazing. I just simply love it. And I have been coloring this with Neo colors. And one of my issues with Neos is that the color isn't very intense. You have to build it up in layers. And so I am not confident enough with them to really be good with them. But I was trying to go for a shadow of making the wing sort of shadow his head a little bit, although it's technically going from the wrong angle. But I wanted to make this whole thing darker blue, and I did, but then I messed it up again. It was darker blue, but it's watercolor, for heaven's sakes. And then I put a layer of the Pearl X paint that I'd made. I didn't use the Sugilite. I used the Pearl X pearl colored paint. that I made to put a layer of shimmer on it. I wanted to see how that discolored the color underneath, and it seems to not have done that, other than the water having distorted the watercolor. The actual deep, because it lifted a bunch of the watercolor off. But other than that, it doesn't seem to have to harmed the color underneath at all. And then, of course, I used a little bit of gel pen to outline the scales. So I'm really just using this as a playing with different methods. Now, this is where I put some of that luminous iridescent medium that Morticia also said. I put a little bit of that because I had it on my finger and I wiped it on here. And it does pretty much the same type of thing as the Pearl X powder. But anyway, so I'm just playing. I'm just experimenting with making, different ways of shading using just the Neo colors. Trying not to add any other kind of watercolors in. But it's coming along. It's one of those works in progress. It's likely to be a work in progress for quite a while, till I eventually just sort of sit down and finish it. It's kind of like this. This is destined to be a work in progress for some time. So what are all of you working on today? Or that are you coloring special for Halloween? I know that some of you, Nana, and I don't know, Sean, if you're going, but I know Nana is going, are getting ready for the Creative Haven Masterclass next Saturday in Bath. Just trying to figure out what colors I need for this. I want to do these flowers a little bit different than I did the other flower. So I know I want that. Let me get see how I did these dark purple? I don't want these other ones to be that dark purple. I want them to be a little more lavender or violet-esque. So let's see what we can do with that. So exciting. Image in Coloring Heaven Frightlings. Oh, good. Okay, so that is what you're coloring, an image in Coloring Heaven Frightlings. The Coloring Heaven magazine is just so wonderful. They seem to attract some marvelous artists as well. So I know they're very nice people. And their customer service is great. Uh-oh, and yes, that was my stomach growling. And I did eat, but I ate a while back. It was probably closer to 8 o'clock this morning than it was to, or no. What time did I eat? I ate something, I know, at probably around 10. But it's probably I'm getting ready to need something else, starting to get a little peckish. I love that word. That's an English word for saying if we're hungry. Peckish. We don't usually say that here in America, but I like it. I'm not hungry, I'm peckish. Oh, I did want to tell you guys, thank you for all of your thoughts and prayers for my dear friend. She did end up having to have surgery on Monday. And she has been having a really rough time of it because it was fairly serious, but it's also got her on a ton of pain meds. And I don't know, I imagine all of you who take pain meds know, there's an associated nausea that comes with it. And is there anything more miserable than being nauseous all the time? It's just got to makes it so you don't want to eat. Nothing tastes good. And yet, if you don't eat, the nausea is just worse. So I guess your choices are be in pain or, be nauseous. And famming is starving in our lingo in the Northeast. Okay, so instead of being starving, you're famming, meaning famished. That's cool. That's good to know. Uh, the surgery was it was too bad that she needed it. She had an infection in part of her intestine, so it had to be removed. And it's just a miserable. Surgery in itself is just miserable because it's painful. So I'm just working the colors up. I don't know how. I don't know what contrasty I want these ones to be. So I'm just sort of working a little bit up just to see. Trying to. I might actually switch to a lighter purple. Bring a little bit of that in. I don't know if you can even see that, can you? How do I make that? Can I make the purple show up better? Let me see what I can do as far as camera controls go. And color intensity, up, down, in between. No. Yeah, no. Ooh, boy, that is a lot of yellow. No. You can sort of see that. I think I'm just going to have to. Yep, I think I'm just going to have to make it darker. Not the camera's fault, the operator's fault. BDTT with pain meds. Hopefully they start giving her something to battle with. Well, apparently they do. And but it's not working very well. And she's had so much medicine over the last several months that it's just all works, Here for leukemia. So she's got all of that going on. It's just a mess. I swear, you retire, you think everything is fine, and then it all goes to hell on you. And it's just, tell God your plans. Listen to him laugh. Something good will come out of this. It looks like she might be in remission, which is, which would just be a seriously blessed thing if that is the case. So. I doubt there's anything at all that is more miserable than being treated for any kind of a cancer. Iron David, sure. Oh, you are a good husband, Sean. Even irons. He cooks and he irons. Yeah, I can live with that. I can live with sort of pinky color. Yes, I pray for remission as well. I do too. And because everything else is just, seems so much easier to deal with. Get that in remission and you got everything else. So, she asked the doctor when she could go home, and he laughed. It's like, I don't know about that. Boy, my stomach is just going at it, isn't it? That's, my goodness. I'm sitting here. I made a huge pot of chicken curry chicken curry stew, and I made it a day yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? I think it was the day before yesterday. And it is so good. I've never met curry that I don't like. I am a huge fan of all things curry, and um, so I usually will sneak it into any kind of cream sauce. If it's a cream sauce, I, I'm likely to put curry in it. I do that with my corn chowder. I put curry corn chowder, and with my potato soup, I put curry in that. I've always been that way ever since I was a kid. I've loved curry. Yeah, I'm quite happy with those. Okay. Furby's needed out. Okay. Uh, Another one is I could eat a scabby horse. No, thank you. Hank Marvin is starring in London. His Cockney. Uh, Good Lord. Oh, thank you, Nanamo. I'm really just sort of winging it at this point in time. Part of the problem is that with this light setup, I create a glare for myself on the page, and I haven't quite figured out how to defeat it yet. And there's just no other place for the light. There's just no other place. So the other day, when I was working on the dragon with the shimmer and shine, I found as I was filming it that I could not get an angle where I could actually see to put those, to outline those dragon scales with the gel pen, with the lights on. And I finally had to give up and do it upside down. I did it upside. I actually moved to the other side of the desk and did it so that the glare wasn't reflecting back at me. And then I was able to get it done. Don't get to eat it. Okay, love curry. Don't get to eat it often enough. UK. Now you guys have some wonderful Indian food in England. We have some decent Indian food here, but not nearly. I mean, not certainly. It isn't a huge population here, or Indian food. There's not a huge population, especially here in Virginia. We only have like one good Indian restaurant, and that's it. Oh, I wasn't complaining, Animo. I wasn't complaining that I couldn't see, but it was interesting because normally I can get an angle on it, even if I've got my head practically laying on the desk. I can get an angle on it so that I can actually see. But with that shimmery stuff, there was just no way. I could not get past past the light glare in order to see it. No matter where I put my head. Well, I almost did. Almost gave up, but almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So, do you have that one over there in England? That one is over here. Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Yeah, I think I'm liking this flower. The Indian food is lovely, but westernized for us. They do that with the Mexican food here as well, especially here in Virginia Beach. Uh, it's uh, because I was originally from California, and California has a huge Hispanic population. So the Mexican food is pretty decent there. Here in Virginia, it just sucks. I'm sorry. It's just not good at all. Not good at all. Unless you can make friends with the owner of the place and get him to serve you the stuff that they feed the employees. Uh, your son groans every time you say that, Melinda, that there's no decent Mexican food here. uh, there isn't. I'm sorry. There could be if people would learn to eat it. Oh, green chili stew. Oh, green chili stew is to die for. But you've got to have a stomach made of cast iron too. It is without doubt one of my favorite things. Oh no, the horseshoes and hand grenades thing. Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah, that's a fairly common phrase where I come from. So I hope you guys didn't mind that whole story time thing. It was just so fun to research and realize how wrong I had been as I was sort of yammering along without having reread the plot of the book. I mean, I've certainly read the book probably more than once. Not recently, though. And of course, the fact that before it's over, Heathcliff really sort of turns into this unlikable guy. Why is it that we love the anti-hero? We love Heathcliff, even though he is truly just a jerk. And we love the Phantom, even though the Phantom is just truly a jerk. You know, he kidnaps her. He, first the Phantom of the Opera, he tortures Christine, and then he covets her, and then he kidnaps her, and then he kidnaps her again, and then he tries to kill her. It's like, geez, Louise. And yet we gotta love him. Maybe that's it. Gotta love a bad boy. It's like, just give the poor girl a break, would you? Just let her sing and make people happy. If somehow or another I have messed about and lost my greens. Grab my greens. I need that one, and I think that one. Well, maybe not that one. Maybe this one. Okay. This little guy is getting to the point where he's going to need a extender in the not too distant future. And let's see. Grab a dark green. Thus begins the quiet portion of our show. Okay. There we go. Oh, that's better. Okay. So there is that. Well, one with a heart somewhere. Yeah, you kind of hope that they do have a heart, although I think that there is no doubt that Heathcliff loves Kathy to obsession, but I mean, and his love is genuine, but nonetheless, he jumps to, I guess, because now therein lies there's a good conversation to have of the what makes Heathcliff the way that he is. Is it because of something that happened to him before Earnshaw adopted him, or didn't formally adopt him, but before Earnshaw brought him home? Or was it the fact that Hindley was so jealous of him and treated him so badly, and nobody did anything about it? Or did he feel like, because obviously he felt like the world looked down on him? And the thing about it is that those were all the same characteristics that Emily Bronte's real life brother Branwell had. Branwell got above his station when he actually had an affair. He was a teacher, and he actually had an affair with the wife of the gentleman whose children he had been hired to teach, and then expected her to run away with him. And when she didn't, and he instead got fired, he didn't quite understand what had happened. And that was in their real life. And then, of course, he turned to drink, and gaming and all of that. So I think that Emily borrowed heavily, uh, from the real life that her brother was leading for that particular character, at least. The romantic anti-hero. Yeah, well, yeah, and see, therein lies the danger of jealousy, Animo. I mean, geez Louise, to covet something that you don't have, uh, you know, sim- I don't know. I guess I've never resented people for what they have or for doing well. Now, people who lord it over you, yeah, I have a problem with them. But just I don't dislike somebody just because they're rich or just because they're good at something or just because they have the guy that I love or whatever. I don't hold them personally responsible. That would just be silly. Going to visit the Jane Austen Center museum thingy in Bath. Oh, good. Oh, yes. The Jane Austen museum thingy. I love that. Yeah, a lot of her books were set, at least partially, in Bath. I know that Persuasion is, and what else? I would say Persuasion. I don't think Pride and Prejudice has a scene there, do they? No. I think that there's. Yeah, I don't think they do, unless it's when uh, Mr. What's his name? Oh, somebody help me out here. What is his name in Pride and Prejudice? Mr. What? Ah, Mr. Darcy. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes, Mr. Darcy. When he goes after Elizabeth's sister for misbehaving, and did they end up in Bath at all? No, I don't think so. Yes, Darcy. Oh, there's another one. Unpleasant, but with a heart of gold, at least as far as Elizabeth is concerned, or anybody really. Hello, Sean. How went the. Oh no, I drove everybody away. There's only 17 people watching. How did I do that? I apologize, everybody. I'm sorry. Just one shirt. Okay, well, good. Yeah, it's hard to wear more than one shirt at a time, though. So, unless you were having to do the laundry or the ironing for a week. Okay, so now I'm just going to bring this down. Just bringing a little color in along the sides. Not really being even very careful about where it's going. Because I'm just going to add some of the lighter lavender. And this pencil, I think, is the lavender. over it, and sort of this particular lavender pulls in very nicely. It blends in and blends the darker shade around it in toward the center. This one is a little darker than I intended. I wanted the center of these to have this nice bright pop. So maybe I'll stop being so heavy-handed with that dark purple. Melinda, I found it a little bit taxing of a read at first, but I think I've now read so much of it that I actually like it. Yeah, I actually do like it. I find it a fairly stimulating read now, but I do find myself with modern day sensibilities trying to understand what the big deal about stuff was. They used to just I find myself kind of shouting at them, just talk stuff, guys. Get real. Stop being so all-fired polite. You haven't driven anyone away, bless you. Thank you, Nana. Or Mo. I should call you Mo. I shouldn't call you Nana. You're not my Nana. You're Mo. Excuse me. I apologize for that, guys. No, I like the center a little bit brighter. I like that. I love these neon colors. Oh, thank you to whomever that was. I hope you took your discount. Okay, yes, I like those. I like the way that those have come out. Yeah, see, that's how they look without light glaring all over them. Sort of stripy and colorful. Definitely colorful. So there's a little of the chartreuse green. This is the olive green around the upper sides. And the dark green around this lower inside. And then finally a little bit of a blend out with the chartreuse for a nice bright center. I love the way this bee came out. Did you? I mean, that bee's wings with that iridescent, the watercolor paint is so pretty. That is what I did was I used the iridescent medium that Morticia sent, and I put it on a little oh dear. Oh no, that's even worse. Well, I can't find it, but it was one of the lids put it on a little lid, and then added a little bit of water. It didn't do real well with the water, but the water did help it to spread out on the page. I would not recommend mixing it with water at all. I'm going to have to be right back again, guys. With all the moisture in the air, it's wreaking havoc. Oh, goodness gracious. I am so sorry. It's like all of a sudden my side will swell up and just like block off my ability to breathe. And that'll cause me to cough every time. So, all right, I know Sean has gone to set up. I'm going to hope that everybody here knows that Sean of Color with Sean, that's Color with a U, is next or in the schedule. And he is usually on for a couple of hours, and I do believe that we get the fourth witch today. He has been coloring the Wee Witches, and I know the artist's name, but I can't remember it. But go over there and you'll find it. And I will definitely be there after my show, after I get a chance to just go ahead and heat up a bowl of that curry stew, which is still calling my name. So I may just let you out, like it's mine to say, right? Like I'm holding you here. Hello, everybody. Stay here until I tell you you can go. I'm sorry. Don Davidson. Thank you, Belinda. And thank you also for the thumbs up request. I will add mine to my own. Hello, Crafting with Mrs. Crochet and Copy. I am going to guess that you have got a channel. And so, everybody, we should all check that out and find out. Now, I don't know how this will affect. I should probably not click it myself right away. I will on the playback, though, because I don't want to accidentally take myself out of my own stream. That'd be pretty funny and something I'd do. Not intentionally, but accidentally. Uh, and I know that it doesn't do that when I am in just a chat, but I don't know how it'll do with me as the host if I start clicking around on stuff. Uh, I've actually never tried it. So, do you have a channel? Due to coloring, so you've been trying to find new people to watch. Well, welcome here. We did a flip through earlier of a book of Wuthering Heights, and it was wonderful. So if you missed that, you'll have to watch back. I am a coloring book artist, and I do draw books. This is a page that I drew and have been coloring on for a few weeks, or for eventually we'll finish this one. But these are my first 8 books there. They are on the back of this one, which is 40 fan favorites. And oh, we have to get the sales portion in, by the way, of everybody. And my other brand new book, which is the best of mandalas. There's 48 in them in there. Did from my first 8 books. I finally did a best of because I got tired of dragging the other 8 out every time I wanted to color something. So that is an example of the kind of drawings that you'll find in my books right there on that back cover. And then, of course, mandalas. What's the most? Oh, we just did this one. I just did a video on this one. I love the way this one turned out. Absolutely love the way. That's CLAart markers and just a little glitter gel pen. So that's who I am. So hopefully you'll become a happy subscriber. And yes, they are always on Amazon, and there are links. They are both on Amazon and as PDFs in my Etsy shop. But there are links in the description below. They are my Amazon affiliate links. So I not only do I get paid as the author, but I earn a tiny commission toward being able to buy other people's books and products if you use the links that I provide. So just like the other day, I bought, what did I buy? I bought something from from one of you guys are so good to me. I actually, what did I buy? I ordered something and I don't remember. Now I don't remember what it was. Oh, I know what it was. Hey, I finally got my cinnamon Altoids, everybody. This is what the cinnamon Altoids look like. Yum, yum, yum. Took 2 weeks for them to get here, and I ordered them via Prime. But soon these will be converted to little watercolor boxes. So I can get started on between those and the extra one that I got from Morticia. I should be able to actually start working on those. So we'll have, maybe I'll get those done about the same time that I hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, which we're at 900 and something right now. Last time I looked, it was like 939 or one of those. Now I'm confused again. It's so easy to confuse me these days. Wasn't always so easy. Nine, 4, 5. Oh, that's how many I have. 945. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, that'll work. However, I want it to be 950. Do I hear 950? Let me go to 950. Then there's only 50 more to go. Actually, I don't know what. I honestly don't know what 1,000 subscribers get you. Not anything I'll be doing anything with. I know that as far as the PayPal tip jar goes, it's actually better for me if people use PayPal than it is Google, because PayPal takes a whole lot less. Speaking of, okay. So that will work for that. So we did a flip through and we got at least one more flower on this done. And I got to show off my bee and my new, the new stuff that I've been trying to work out on, adding shimmer paint over watercolor on the dragon drawing. So I'm going to zoom up a little bit and zoom out a little more. And I think that at 3:54, if I give everybody that 6 or 7 minutes to go have community tab, super chats, not sure what else. Oh, the community tab is really what I want. The super chats is okay. Well, like I said, super chats is lovely, but yeah, YouTube takes 31% when you're monetized. Exactly. But PayPal doesn't. PayPal doesn't take anything. Well, actually, they do take a tiny fee, but it's not 31%. I can tell you that. Thank you, Elizabeth. And yes, I loved telling the story of Wuthering Heights. Anybody who wasn't here, you missed the entire story of Wuthering Heights, although I did leave out, like most of the details. We just painted with very broad strokes for this gorgeous book that Shara was kind enough to send to me. And so look for that. Then also there'll be a storyboard version of that with probably much shorter explanations coming up here in the next couple of days. And okay, and oh, did you hit it? Did you hit it, Sean? How exciting. Okay, so Sean hit his 500 mark, which is wonderful. Got to go and get ready for the 500 sub giveaway. Okay, so we'll see you at your show, Sean, here in 4 minutes. All right. So everybody, thank you so very much for being here today. And as ever, until we meet again, please color study. Look for the videos during the week. Now that I've got great editing capability, I will be able to put up more. See you soon. Thank you all for coming. Mods, thank you for the job that you do, my dears. You are absolutely wonderful. When will the book be available with the page you're coloring? That is a really good question. And I don't have a really good answer now. Mrs. Crochet, I don't know what to call you. Possibly before Christmas. Keep our fingers crossed. I don't know if I'm going to make the deadline or not, to be perfectly honest with you. I've had some stuff going on, which has sort of thrown me back on my schedule a little bit. So I'm still going to push for it. but hopefully certainly before Christmas. All right. Bye, everybody. Go see Sean. See you next week.